Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Community Connection. We've already had some playful banter before the cameras even came on. So if you get us in a minute, in a moment of giddiness.
Being silly. Like we were told to be last week.
Yes. So speaking of being silly, let's check in with Gen Z's ambassador to the baby boomers, our own Melvinator.
I would like to correct you. It's actually Gen Z's silliest ambassador to the baby boomers.
Hey, here's your question for the week.
Okay.
All right. Talk about generational gap here. Uh-huh. Do you know who Johnny Carson was?
Yeah, he was a talk show host for a long time.
Whoa. Have you ever seen an episode?
I've seen clips, but not a full episode.
Yes, there's.
Yeah. Gen Z watches clips.
Why watch clips?
We watch the whole thing.
Yep. So here's the question. Which one of us is Johnny Carson and which one of us is...
I don't even remember their name either. Was it the band guy?
No.
McMahon?
That's horrible. Yeah, I'm having a boomer moment here.
We forget things. Another piece of being a boomer.
Yeah, Ed McMahon, right?
Ed McMahon.
There you go.
He'd sit there and kind of feed, right? So am I Johnny Carson or is Claudia Johnny Carson? Who's
Gosh.
Remember who the boss is and you get the right answer here.
I guess, since Mr. Day, since you do the intros and the outros, that would make you Johnny Carson, right?
No, it would make me Ed McMahon.
Gosh,
because I get a start and I hand it off to the silly one in the room.
Claudia's the silliest person.
And then I just pop in every now and then with questions, and then I say goodbye at the end. So we know who the real star is. Speaking of that, Claudia Fletcher, how are you? You look lovely today.
I disagree with everything that's been said so far, including the last part. He tells me I look lovely every week, not because he thinks I look lovely, but because he knows it annoys me.
Well, you can see how it triggers her. I mean, that's every time. Hey, it's not about you, so why don't you introduce our guest?
So we have Ayana here with us today. She has a long last name, and I'm going to let her say that when it's time to introduce herself. And we'll tell you where she's from in a few minutes. But first, Ayana, we just want to get to know a little bit about you. So tell us a little bit about you and why you're drawn to the position that you're in and to helping families in our community.
Sure. So my name's Ayana Jackson Gillis. I'm the Community Outreach Manager with Brightview. That's located on Old Forest Road in Lynchburg. I got into this position because of the family unit. I feel like every child deserves the right to grow up in a loving and caring and nurturing environment.
Wow, that sounds very familiar around here, doesn't it?
Yes, and I think that's what drew me to Patrick Henry.
Oh, wonderful.
So did you grow up here in Lynchburg?
I did not. I'm from Winchester, Virginia.
Okay. And been here how long?
Time flies. About 9 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what brought you to Lynchburg?
Well, that's another story, but basically, I worked, a company called me to come here and work, Genworth.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I started there, then I went to Goodwill, and then I found my way at Brightview.
Good.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about how Brightview and this passion that you have for seeing families whole, how did those two things connect?
Well, as I mentioned, I feel like every child deserves the right to grow up in a safe and loving environment. And your mission, you also kind of believe the same. So it was a no-brainer for us to kind of work together. And fortunately, I was able to meet Cameron, and she kind of connected us together. And we are part of the Vision 30.
Yes. And thank you for that.
No
So, for those who are hearing for the first time, tell us about the mission of Brightview. What's the space, or what are the things that you're doing for those children and families?
What we're doing is trying to make our communities as drug-free as possible. That's the goal, to have our community drug-free.
Yeah. Yeah, when we think about the kids in foster care space, those who have interaction with Child Protective Services, a lot of it has to do with substance abuse. Just plain and simple, right? If we could solve that problem, the number of kids in care would go down drastically.
Oh,
So
I agree.
it's
We
key.
work closely with the drug court in Lynchburg and the family court in Bedford as well. And many of the times CPS has taken their children. So, but to see them reunited is just so rewarding. That's why I do it.
If you ever ask the children what they want, that's what they want.
Exactly.
They want their family back. They want to be with their family, right? And that's your experience.
Right. And we've talked about, this idea of through Vision 30, we want to confront these reasons that foster care exists, but realizing that it's a failure of the community when the community doesn't take care of people and address these issues. And so focusing on organizations and partnering with people like you who are doing things in spaces that we're not. Because substance use disorder is not something that we are doing here. And so partnering with people who are in that space and doing that. So tell us your title again and a little bit of what it is you do on a daily basis.
Sure. So, well, it varies from day to day, of course. But my title is Community Outreach Manager. And I'm basically out in the community, connecting with different agencies, getting referrals into our site. I attend the meetings such as the gathering that Patrick Henry has, and reentry council meetings, just CVAR, a number of community agencies. They have monthly meetings, so I'm there in the room trying to get referrals. I'm also out in the community with potential patients. I work quite often with Parkview Mission, the Salvation Army, I'm at the library on Memorial once or twice a week,
Oh.
meeting with individuals who
Yeah.
are coming there when they have to leave their shelter to meet with them and tell them about our services.
Oh.
Okay.
Does that happen pretty regularly?
It does.
That's kind of where they land when they come out of a.
Yeah, they go to the library and sit in the library most of the time. So that's where I can reach them.
Gotcha. So, what services are you offering there that can help them move from the library to kind of the next stage?
Well, we'll just letting them know that we're here in the community and we're here to help them and meet them where they are.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good.
So do a role play. I did this with Angela a few
Oh,
weeks
no.
ago, and it worked really well. Pretend like you just got out of the homeless shelter and you're going to meet with Ayana, and you can do this. You just got out of the homeless shelter, and just ask her what's available. She'll do all the talking. You don't have to worry. You could pretend to be this for just a minute.
Okay. Well, first of all, I probably feel a bit dazed, right? A little anxious. Don't know what's coming next. Might be hungry, right? Maybe fighting some urges, right?
Right.
So, ma'am, what's my next step? How can you help me? I don't know where to go from here.
Right. Well, first of all, we have hygiene bags with snacks and food, hydration. So I'd offer you a bag.
Okay.
Tell you where I'm from. I'm with Brightview, and I'd let them know that these are the services we provide. We provide counseling. We provide medication to help with cravings if you have any type of substance use disorder. It's pretty much just start a conversation and see where they are because again, we meet them where they are. And many times the individuals, they don't want to come out and say, I have an addiction or a drug problem. So my job is to make them feel as comfortable as possible and just pretty much provide an overview of what we can do and let them know we are there if they need us.
Well, I'm attracted to your glasses because it makes you look friendly. So, right?
There you go, and you're attracted to the bag that has food in it,
I am.
right?
Yeah, and she seems like a sweet person. So,
So you think you might take advantage of
yeah, I
those?
think I will.
Look at that, Ayana. You sold him so fast.
yeah.
That was probably the easiest client you've had in years.
It was.
Well, I love that you base on relationship, right? You're not just going and say, here's a list of things we can do, right?
Right.
It's got to be about human connection, particularly in that kind of vulnerable state, right? When people just
Definitely.
don't know what to do and who's right, what's next. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that approach is unique because I think that the first part of what you had to say, everybody's doing that, right? Everybody's going to the meetings and telling everybody, if you need to refer to us, here's how you do it. Here's my card, like that piece. But the going where people are, meeting them where they are, sitting in that space with them, especially in those moments where, I often talk about how families have moments, people have moments in time that are going to define them. And if we're there at that moment and provide what they need at that moment, we can change their lives. And if we're not there at that moment, it may not happen, right? So the fact that you're there in those moments is really meaningful, I think, to the people and to the cause, to just being there and meeting them at that point when they may be at their lowest or they're most anxious or they're most afraid. And not being afraid to enter those spaces with them, because I think a lot of people are. We like to
it's
pretend like we're
uncomfortable.
not,
It's messy, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And but as far away, I remember I've talked to many people who talk about how people like to help people from as far away from them as they can get, right?
Yeah.
So I'll write a check and send it in, and then you can take that water to Africa. Or, you can go to China because I'm paying for it, and I can stay here, and China can be all the way over there. And that's comfortable for me. But the closer you get to having to jump into the space, the harder it is. So we like to contribute to nonprofits so that they can do the work. But then sometimes even the nonprofits get stuck in the space
They do.
where they don't want to get close to the people that they're serving. And so how can we be as
They
far
actually
away
use the
from them?
program as a barrier sometimes,
Right.
right? I've done my part. I checked off some boxes. I pulled some levers. I pushed some buttons. They've got services. We don't do the meaningful relationship part. So it's a good time for commercial, which is going to tell us a little bit about Brightview.
Right.
And then we've got another Gen Z guest here who just can't wait for the camera to be on her. So when we come back from the commercial, we'll introduce her too, okay?
All right. right, you can do that.
Yes, thank you. So show that commercial, Liam.
Thousands of people lose their lives each year to drug overdoses in Kentucky.
There are 25 opioid hotspots across the nation. The tri-state area is #1.
The CDC is sounding the alarm about a record number of deaths in America.
One American is dying from a drug overdose every 5 minutes.
The antidote to the addiction epidemic isn't just Narcan. It is passionate people taking on challenging and meaningful work. Addiction is a disease, one we can treat. When patients are ready, we are here for them with treatment that meets them where they are.
Brightview offers local outpatient addiction treatment. We empower our patients by offering treatment programs that work around their schedules and in their home communities. Our staff is here to help guide, support, and encourage our patients on their journey. We treat addiction like a disease, helping to remove the stigma around alcohol and substance use disorder.
Most importantly, we work hard to provide accessible help to those who are ready by removing common barriers, like requiring certain types of insurance or putting patients on wait lists.
It meant a lot being able to call a place and get right in. That's one thing I love about this clinic. They don't turn nobody away.
A live person answers our calls 24/7. Many of us are in recovery too, so we can relate to each caller's unique set of challenges.
We're going to be with them every step of the way. It's not just the phone call that starts today. I remind them this is the most important step, that you have called us.
Recovery is possible, and we're here whenever somebody's ready to take that first step.
Our treatment programs include medications to help stabilize the brain, individual and group counseling, and social support services to help our patients achieve lasting recovery. We built Brightview's outpatient program on the science and the literature to give each patient the best chances of long-term success.
It took me from feeling like trash to a person again. It's great, it really is. Sorry.
Treatment begins the same day, either by scheduling online or calling us. And walk-ins are welcome weekdays.
Past this place, I walk in, and we joke about it sometimes, but I literally walked in the door and I said it as straight as I could, like, hey, I'm about to kill myself, can you help me?
And when somebody's ready to start their recovery, we'll do everything we can to help them start that journey.
I show up passionately each day, knowing we're serving people and saving lives.
Here at Brightview, we treat people, not just addiction or mental health. We treat the person for who they are, treat the person as a person and as an individual of the society.
I just remember that was the first time in the years of addiction that I went through that I felt like somebody cared.
You know, I sit back and I look at what I have now and it's like, I'm thankful. Very thankful for this place. It saved my life.
Hey, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, those testimonies, right? You could feel it. Very powerful. And I just love that you treat them like human. They're just human beings in need, and any one of us could be in that same situation, right? Because we come to crossroads, and sometimes we make decisions that cause us to bad things happen. So, Cameron, how you doing? I'm making you too nervous, aren't I? I just love to see you smile and just get all like, ugh. Tell us your connection, because you made this interview today possible.
Oh, well. I am a family advocate on the family care team. And currently I'm working with the Kinship Navigator program and Kinship Caregivers. And so we found the opportunity that Brightview a few years ago was opening up their location in Lynchburg, and there was an open house and kind of like a meet and greet sort of thing to connect with people. And so because so many of our clients are affected by substance use disorder, felt like it would be a good opportunity to learn more about what they're doing. So yeah, going there is when I met Ayana, and she told us about, you know, what she does and how holistic the care is, and that's something that we prioritize as well. And so it just seemed like, you know, that would be a great thing to get connected to and refer out to our clients. And
Well, thanks for making that connection and introducing her to us and this wonderful program.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we know if is there crossover at clients that you're serving and they're serving? Have you seen that? Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure at this time, but I do know that we invited Ayana to come speak at one of our support groups.
Yeah.
And so she shared with the clients, you know, face to face about what the services are and was available to answer any questions. And also, I think it was a powerful experience because she was able to hear from them too. So from there, I know a lot of the caregivers were interested in that and were very drawn to what they do, just because, you know, a lot of them, it's their own children that are going through this like journey with substance use.
Yes.
So
yes,
for sure.
Wow. Well, thanks again for making that connection. By the way, did you know who Jonna Carson was? And Ed
No.
McMahon? No.
She's going to go look at a
sure
clip
didn't.
later, though. She'll look at a
Yes.
clip.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
on
you got to look at
YouTube.
the clip.
Oh, yeah.
Ed McMahon used to go around giving millions of dollars away in Publisher Clearinghouse giveaway. So
Yeah.
anyway, back to the subject.
So interestingly, and this is something I haven't even had a chance to tell you about because it just happened. There's some Bedford County opioid, am I saying this wrong? Opioid abatement monies. And Andy has found a way to tie in our Kinship Navigator program to
Andy
that program.
for-
Andy Crawford,
that's-
yep. So that we can get a little bit of those funds to do what we're doing. But he makes such a valid point that if you have somebody who has substance use disorder and is battling this, where do you want their children to be? Do you want them to be with family that's supported, or do you want them to be in foster care? And it's hands down.
Yeah.
If you can find a way to put them with a family that loves them, but if you just put them there without the support they need, and so tying those two things together, which a lot of people would say, hey, what's Kinship Navigator and opioid abatement have to do with each other? They wouldn't get it until you start diving in to say, wow, that really is a connection. And so I think that, you know, when you talk about Kinship Navigator program and Brightview, there's definitely that overlap that says, how do we want the children of the people we're serving to be treated? We want them to be with family if they can be, and we want those families to get that support. So
I don't think you asked the why question earlier, did you?
I did. I
Did you?
started that way, but
Where was I?
so yeah, she answered the question too.
Okay.
I don't know where you.
I don't know. Sorry.
Another characteristic of the boomers. It was just 20 minutes ago, but we've already forgotten.
That's not even been that long. Well, I'm just Ed McMahon sitting over here watching the whole thing. So
Well, I know you're not. But I think that the reason that you missed it was because she was basically stating our
That's
vision, and that you got carried away thinking about what a great,
I
what a
did.
great match it was, and
It
you
was-
totally forgot that was the question.
Yes, we are definitely on the same page.
Yes, it's definitely for the family unit.
You know, all nonprofits like to quote network, right? Which is showing up at each other's meetings to find out what's going on and how can we refer to each other. But that collaboration is the next step. And we feel like collaboration, cooperation, where we really say, here's the bigger picture, because we're all seeing this bigger picture, and it's not about our own nonprofits and about what we can gain or how many clients. It's about how can we serve the most people in the best way possible. So how can we at Patrick Family Services, how can we serve you, support you, collaborate with you with the mission that you're on?
I think that falls back to sending us referrals. When you meet with individuals who say that, you know, they're having issues with substance use disorder, sending them our way.
Okay. Yeah. I was curious about funding and resources. I mean, that commercial, you guys look well funded. You've got professionals there, some nice space, right? That takes resources. I get that. I mean, we have to figure that out all the time. Where do you get resources? Do you rely on donations, contributions, volunteers?
We're privately funded.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're privately funded.
Yeah. All right. So, wow. Do you take volunteers? Oh, is there a screening process? Or, I mean, how about if somebody saw this and say, I want to somehow help and be in this space, is there an opportunity for that?
That's something I'm not really sure about.
Okay.
I've never
Yeah.
had anyone ask me that question, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we always need people out in the community.
There you go. Yeah.
Advocating
There you
for
go.
us, and
Yeah. Because I get that you got to have a certain amount of professional, right, training, et cetera, background to be in this space. So
Right.
I don't necessarily see the volunteer that way, but I like what you're saying is we can be advocates, evangelists, so to speak, to help people, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, not so much in the site because all of our patients' information is protected,
Sure.
and confidential. So
Yeah.
I think, in wrapping up the conversation and with the commercial and everything you said, the thing that I love the most is that it sounds like from your clients' testimonies that they immediately feel seen and heard, right? Where they are. Like we talk about meeting people right where they are as well. That's part of one of our strategies is to meet people where they are. And I think, just your story of being at the library when that's where they're going to be, right? And then having that compassionate response that's not, with the stigma or the judgment or the looking down on people, but just saying, hey, we're here to help. And the backpack is like a total acknowledgement of we know where you're at right now.
Right.
So we know you're hungry. We guess you're hungry. We guess you might need these things. And that just speaks volumes to people who are in that position because they sometimes they have nothing, right? And they need to know that there's somebody who cares that's willing to see them for who they are at the moment and meet those immediate needs and not just try to get somebody to sign a piece of paper or make a first step. But before we even ask you or show you anything, we want to say we see you and we think you might need this and we want to meet those needs. That's an excellent approach to beginning to build that relationship that's going to lead to trust, that's going to allow them to make that next step.
Right, yeah. And the one thing that sets us apart is the fact that we allow walk-ins the same day. So they're able to come into our site, see a medical provider, get medication for withdrawal, and start on their journey that very first day.
You can't afford to wait.
No.
Because
It's
an
that
hour
long
could make a
day,
difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could overdose and be dead.
Yeah. Wow. That's a tough space. What I appreciate it, and I know that a lot of people who work in the space that had the same difficulty, right? And they've gotten better. They've come through recovery. And they're rebuilding their lives, and then they turn around and want to reach back. That's just beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
That happens quite often in this field.
Yeah. I think there's something about that because we, foster care space, et cetera, right? People who've been hurt often go to the places where hurting's happen and do that. And that's a beautiful thing.
I agree.
So we ready to wrap it up?
We are.
So this is your chance to tell the audience whatever you think they can do to get involved in the space and to help out.
Sure. So if you are struggling with alcohol or drugs, or you know anyone who's struggling with alcohol or drugs, send them our way. We're there to meet them where they are and get them started on their road to recovery. Life is not just about existing, but you can start living today. You can call us at our toll-free number. It's a 24-hour crisis hotline, and I have to look at my number. It's 833-510-HELP. And again, that's 833-510-4357. You can call that hotline to make an appointment to come into our site. You can go online to our website, www.brightviewhealth.com, and also schedule an appointment. You can call me directly. My number is 540-519-9984, and I will be happy to assist, provide a tour of our site. If you have clients that might be interested in getting help but really don't know what to expect and would like to see our site, I will provide a non-committal tour to them as well.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Any famous or meaningful or deep words?
Not at this time.
Wow. Hey,
I know you're shocked. I haven't done at the moment.
I am now. I don't have any words to say.
Well, it's okay. You don't have to have any more because we're ready
We're
to
wrapping
be
up.
done.
Cameron, it was awesome. It's always good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you, Melvinator. We always love teasing you. Thank you for hanging around, being with us.
Thank you for having me today.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
been an experience.
Yes, yes. And thank you for the work that you do. So important. And thank you for watching us on Community Connection. We'll see you next week.
Nobody gets to choose their family. If a person is fortunate enough to be born into a healthy family, then life can be much like floating down a smooth, gentle river in the summertime. But an unhealthy family is like a dangerous river, filled with rocks, debris, and fast-moving water. This river swiftly leads to the steep waterfall of adulthood, tragically forming a new river of dysfunction. Even if you aren't born into an unhealthy river, there are many streams that cause a person to get there. But there is only one way to get out, and that is through a meaningful relationship. Across our region, there are many agencies, churches, and families who are devoted to helping children escape from unhealthy rivers. Some feel their role is to wade in and rescue children. They foster, adopt, or provide safe families. Others stand by the river and support the rescuers by providing what they need. Still, others are upstream and stand in the gap to keep children from ending up in the negative situations. At Patrick Henry Family Services, we see ourselves as having an additional role. We are running up and down the shores of the unhealthy river, screaming, "Can't you see the children in the water? You have to do something." Vision 30 is a 10-year initiative. By 2030, we envision a region where all children are safe in their own family, or with caregivers who are supported by a local faith community. So, where do you stand at the river? Are you upstream, keeping families together and strong by standing in the gap? Are you in the river, directly impacting children? Are you on the shore, providing support for the brave folks who have entered the river? Or are you just passing by without noticing? No matter who you are, come down to the river with us. Let us help you find your place. Not only will lives be changed, but you will never be the same.